evening, I'm Julia.
And I'm Annie.
And we've noticed that all our favorite programs are pretty much buddy cop shows.
Sherlock, where all the criminals are actually one petite Irishman.
Doctor Who, where all the criminals are spread throughout time and space.
House, where all the criminals are in fact diseases.
So grab your buddy and the nearest deer stalker. You're watching
The Couch. As of Thursday, America will try to prove that more is better when Elementary officially surpasses Sherlock's number of episodes in less than one season.
So without any further ado, it's Versus Battle Royale. With any Sherlock Holmes story, the biggest qualifier is going to be the bromance.
Because as much as we love the mysteries, the bromance is what really pulls you in.
And in both these shows, the chemistry between the Joan Watson characters and the Sherlock Holmes characters is phenomenal.
Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu, who are fabulous. But then you have Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, who blow pretty much everybody else out of the water.
Their chemistry is instantaneous. It is really strong and it hits off the second they meet.
I never question that these guys are best friends and are going to be best friends forever. It's just absolutely believable.
Our concern with Elementary is that because Joan Watson is Joan and not John, there's more of a potential for a romance between Sherlock and Watson.
There is an argument to be made that those are both actually romance stories, and I'm not gonna deny that. But that's just not Sherlock Holmes.
So in this case, we're gonna have to give the point to Sherlock.
Now, another obvious aspect of any Sherlock Holmes stories has to be the mysteries, because it's Sherlock Holmes.
We're gonna have to give this one to Sherlock because Stephen Moffat is a master of planting clues.
With Sherlock, you can just watch the mysteries over and over again, and each time you see something new.
It's much more satisfying when you say, "Oh my gosh, I just figured it out!"
And there's always something that you didn't see coming. Always.
And of course, we have to look at the villains in each.
Again, in both of these shows, the villains are superior. But Sherlock edges out just ever so slightly because of Andrew Scott.
The villains in Elementary are great. I think the villain in the pilot is absolutely chilling. Also, the episode Child Predator has an incredible villain, and you kind of don't see that one coming.
But at the same time, in Sherlock, you've got Moriarty, who is in every single episode, right from the get-go. And the reveal on Moriarty is just amazing.
So well written, so well acted. Andrew Scott plays a phenomenal villain.
Looking at him, you just don't see villain until he actually starts playing the villain, and it just comes seeping out of his skin. It's absolutely terrifying. And our last qualification, because both of these shows are retellings, do they do justice to Arthur Conan Doyle's stories? The short answer is yeah. Sherlock does it a little better.
Sherlock has much closer and much more obvious ties to the original work, and I feel that kind of lends mystical, almost fantasy air to the characters, because you can clearly tell these are characters from something else that have been put into this modern day setting. Elementary feels more like just a regular cop drama, a really well done cop drama, but not necessarily Sherlock.
The way that I think of these two shows, it's like Sherlock is a really good remix of an old song. And you can still hear pieces of the old song, but the remix stands as a separate piece of art. Elementary is like a really good tribute band, but you kind of just want them to go off and do their own thing.
So Sherlock won all 4 of our categories, albeit by the slightest hair in most of them. Sherlock wins our Versus Battle Royale. And as much as we love a good buddy cop show, we're even bigger suckers for kick-ass leading ladies.
So tonight we're taking a look at 3 crime-busting,
strong female characters. Keeping with our Sherlock theme, our first strong female character is Joan Watson.
One of the things that we're talking about with strong female characters are their flaws, because flaws are an important part of a strong character.
It's kind of hard to distinguish Joan's flaws between her personality and the writing they do.
Because we're not crazy about where they've taken the Joan Watson character. Like, they went from John Watson, who was a wounded veteran and a successful doctor and a successful surgeon, and then they turned her into Joan Watson, who's a disgraced surgeon and not a soldier and has no fighting skills, and it's just not a direction that I was really impressed with.
On the other hand, we do like that her flaw is this kind of shattered confidence. She doesn't have the same faith in herself as she did when she was a doctor.
If you step away from knowing what John Watson is supposed to be, the flaw stands on its own as a really good, really interesting, complex addition to her character.
One of Joan Watson's strengths is definitely her ability to just deal with Sherlock.
Watson is very dominant in this relationship. She does not take any of Sherlock's crap.
Also does a good job of dealing with Sherlock's crazy.
And it was one of the great strengths of Watson in the original stories. So that's translated along quite well.
Another great strength that Joan Watson has is this ability to grow. You see throughout the season that she's picking things up from Sherlock and she's learning the things that Sherlock knows, and I think that's great character development.
Our next leading lady is Kate Beckett from ABC's Castle.
Beckett has what you would probably consider a classical tragic flaw, and it's her obsession with her mother's murder.
It's a choice that she makes, which is an important aspect of classical tragic flaws. And she makes it over and over again, and it keeps getting in the way of her life, but she keeps making that choice.
Kate's ability to be that hard-nosed cop is one of her greatest strengths. One of the things that we actually discussed was that we like her a lot because her character is normally one you would see played by a guy.
It's sort of sad that we have to say she's a strong female character because usually we'd see this character played by a man. Like, that's a pretty sad commentary on television and our society.
Our final leading lady of the night is Dr. Temperance Brennan from Fox's long-running crime drama, Bones.
One of the great things about Bones is that her greatest weakness is also her greatest strength.
Bones is hella smart.
A little too smart. She uses her brain above all things, and she needs to have a rational explanation for everything that everyone does and everything that she does, even if it's something irrational, like falling in love.
On the other hand, her intellect is her greatest strength.
Her intellect is absolutely unparalleled, and there are mysteries that are set up in the story that simply could not be solved without a character who is that intelligent.
She's an essential character to the story because of her intelligence.
For everybody who likes to shout out, "He did it!" 10 minutes into an episode, we've got some crime TV for you to get excited about.
Last week we told you about Fox's new show, The Following. Well, over the weekend, they released a new trailer, which you can find the link to above. It looks really good. And
really creepy.
And if you're looking for some cop shows with strong female characters, Sci-Fi's Haven just got renewed for a 4th season. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's a pretty good show. It is a sci-fi show, so expect a little cheese, but each season has gotten progressively better, so we recommend it.
And finally, Elementary has won the coveted post-Super Bowl time slot,
which will usually boost the ratings for the show, if not just for that episode.
So that's what we're excited about this week.
Tune in next time, and until then,
keep watching.